Should you use cold email to win clients and grow your business in 2025? My name is Felix. I'm co-founder here at Stack Optimize. We are a cold email and GTM engineering agency sending more than 1 million emails every month on behalf of right now around 25 different B2B businesses. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down whether or not you should consider using cold email for your business, what the pros and the cons are, what you can expect, and ultimately, what are your choices for implementation and ongoing management. So without further ado, let me jump into my presentation here, courtesy of Gamma. First and foremost, what are we even talking about here? What is cold email? What am I referring to in this video? So we are talking about high volume automated outreach via email to your ideal prospects in an attempt to get them to reply, to get them to take meetings with you, and ultimately to close business. Now, the question is not whether or not this channel works. It works amazing for some businesses. It works less well for other businesses. Ultimately, this is a billion-dollar industry, and companies, hundreds of companies, thousands of companies are closing deals from cold email every single day. The question is whether or not it works for your business. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you will have a clearer idea on that. And if you think it would work and you don't want to manage it yourself, you want the experts to take care of it for you, you can book a call with me. My calendar link will be in the description of this video below, and we can set this all up and manage it for you. So first and foremost, are you qualified? Are you a fit? Do you meet the bare minimum requirements to run a successful cold email strategy? Now, there are hard requirements and there are soft requirements. Hard requirements are you absolutely need to have these things. Otherwise, you just can't feasibly run this channel. There are two hard requirements I've outlined here. Hard requirement number one is you must be a B2B business. We legally can't send cold emails to consumers. We have to be offering a B2B product or service. Requirement number two is we need to have a large total addressable market. For this type of outreach that we're referring to here, the automated high volume type of cold email, you should have a TAM of at least 20,000 individual prospects. When we're qualifying companies to work with us, we require them to have a TAM of at least 50,000 prospects. However, if you want to maybe go with a different agency or try this yourself, you should have at least 20,000 individuals that you can, in theory, reach out to. Otherwise, the volume is just not going to be there for this to generate ROI. Now, the soft requirements, we have two soft requirements here, which again aren't necessities, but the more of these you have, the better your chances are of success. Soft requirement number one is having a strong offer. Now, we can think of your offer in two different ways: your top of funnel offer and your bottom of funnel offer. Your top of funnel offer is whatever it is that you are offering in your initial outreach message. It might not necessarily be the same as your bottom of funnel offer, which is the offer, the package, the service, the price point that you are closing your clients on. So for example, for us, our top of funnel offer when we're running cold email campaigns is we will offer to send prospects a free lead list. We might offer to send them some examples of free templates that they could use for their particular niche. Your top of funnel offer should be designed in a way where you are trying to maximize the number of replies, specifically the number of positive replies that you get to your email campaigns. You're just trying to open up that initial conversation to then get that prospect into your funnel to take a meeting with you, and then you close them on your bottom of funnel offer. Now, if your bottom of funnel offer is that amazing, it can stand on its own two legs. You can leverage that same offer as your top of funnel offer. So for example, if you have any results guarantees, any money back guarantees as your bottom of funnel offer, you should also propose this in your email because it stands on its own two legs. You don't need a separate lead magnet. You don't need to offer up any kind of additional free value to get those prospects to respond because the offer stands on its own. So the stronger your offer here, the better chance you have of making a success of this channel. You have to remember as well, cold email is one of the least trusted client acquisition channels. If you're winning clients from organic content, you've already had the opportunity to build trust. They've been exposed to your content sometimes for weeks, even months on end. If you're running ads, the dynamic is still set up in a way where the prospect almost comes to you, right? It's almost like inbound. They see your ads, they go to a landing page, they fill out an application form to work with you. They've been exposed to your brand, your logo, your messaging. And then once they're on the call, the dynamic is you have a little bit more leverage in the dynamic than you do with cold outreach. Cold outreach is, like I said, the most untrustworthy channel. And there's a big trust gap that you have to make up. One of the ways of doing that is by having a really compelling offer. Now, the second soft requirement is having a solid sales process. And this soft requirement exists for the same reason. We are reaching out to prospects through a low trust channel. There is a big trust gap that we need to make up. Now, your sales process, you can think of this as kicking in at the point where you generate a positive reply. As soon as you generate a positive reply from a prospect, that prospect has now entered your funnel. You should consider them now in your sales process, and you should take every step possible to move them further along that process to the point where they're going to become a closed client. So, for example, at that first stage, when you generate a positive reply, you should be doing things like connecting with them on LinkedIn, sending them your content, sending them valuable resources, getting your co-founders or exec team to also connect with them on LinkedIn. Once you get that meeting booked in, you should send them a nurture sequence, a series of emails before they take that meeting, just overloading them with social proof and value and reasons why you have credibility and authority in this space. So at a minimum, you need those two hard requirements. You need to be B2B. You need to have a large TAM. If you have the soft requirements too, you're going to be in a better position. Now, in terms of what you can expect, these are realistic benchmarks, numbers, metrics that you can genuinely expect and also should be aiming for when you launch any campaign, starting with reply rate. There's a lot of fake news in the industry about reply rates, people getting reply rates of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20%. Most of this is bullshit. A realistic reply rate from a pure cold campaign is 1.5%. Even 1%, if you're hitting that, that's fine. Even if you're getting less than that, if those leads are still converting to positive replies, meetings, and close-won deals, your reply rate doesn't even matter. But a solid reply rate, a realistic reply rate from a cold campaign, 1.5%. Now, your leads per positive reply, so your positive reply to lead ratio, you should be aiming for 1 in 350. One positive reply for every 350 leads contacted. Now, again, this number can range massively, offer to offer, industry to industry. Some of our clients are getting one positive reply for every 20 leads contacted. Others are getting 1 in 500, even 1 in 1,000. 1 in 350 is the benchmark we are always aiming for. Now, not every positive reply converts to a meeting. Typically, our clients will convert about 30 to 40% of positive replies into meetings. So we are aiming for 1 meeting for every 1,000 leads contacted. Now, in terms of meetings to deals, you can expect about a 10% close rate from cold email. It's going to be less than some of the other channels. It's going to be less than organic content. Obviously, going to be a lot less than referrals and warm intros. 1 in 10 is a realistic number to be aiming for. So what that means we are closing 1 deal for every 10,000 contacts contacted. And again, this ties back to the initial qualification criteria of having a large enough TAM. We really need to have enough prospects that we can, in theory, reach out to generate ROI from this channel. And this might require something of a mindset shift. I often speak to prospects that are hesitant about sending high volume email. They're worried about burning their TAM. They're worried about spray and pray. All of this stuff is non-existent. It's not real. It's not a genuine issue. I don't know a single business that has ever had issues with burning their TAM from sending too many emails. The way you should be thinking about email is the same way you would think about any other ads channel. If you had an Instagram reel go viral and it got 30,000 impressions, you would only ever consider that as a good thing for your brand because that's now that much more exposure for your company. You can think of cold email in the exact same way. If you put your message in front of 30,000 of your ideal prospects, even if none of them replied, I would still consider that a win. You are still in a better position than you were before because that's now 30,000 prospects that now know about you that didn't before. Obviously, the goal is to get replies, to get meetings, and to close deals. But you should also, at a minimum, be thinking about cold email as an awareness channel. It is an amazing channel to just grow your brand awareness, get your name out there, and get your message out there. So, what are the pros? What are the cons? The pros, it is one of the fastest acquisition channels. The time to value is immediate. Once you set this up, you can book meetings within 24 hours of implementing the system. This is unlike other channels out there, like organic content, for example, which could take months before you see any results. You could be posting on Instagram, on LinkedIn for weeks, months on end before you get any kind of inbound meetings. With cold email, it's immediate. It's highly scalable. There's really no limit to how many emails you can send. You just need more domains, more inboxes, and you can basically scale infinitely. It's extremely targeted. You can pick the exact persona that you want to target based on their job title, based on their industry, based on the type of company they work for, based on the size of the company. No other channel you can be that targeted. It's very low cost. You could set this all up for $500 a month. Your domains, your inboxes, your data, a smart lead account, and you're basically good to go. If you want a more sophisticated setup where you start using tools like Clay, where you start leveraging a lot of AI for your qualification and personalization, you're going to be looking at more like 1.5K a month, but still very affordable, very low cost and low barriers to entry. The cons could basically be boiled down to cold email is hard. It's really hard. And in order to win, you need to refine and optimize lots of things. The number one challenge right now in cold email is deliverability. And if you're not familiar, this is the process of landing your emails in the primary inbox and not the spam folder. It gets harder and harder as your volume goes up and up and up. And the reason why it's hard is because there's this ongoing battle between the email service providers, Google and Outlook, and people wanting to send cold emails. Google and Outlook are trying to throttle the number of cold emails that are going across their network. Email senders are obviously trying to send as many emails as they possibly can. So you have this like tension between these two groups where Google and Outlook will introduce a new spam algorithm change, which will reduce the number of cold emails that are able to get through. People sending emails will adapt and evolve based around this change, and they'll be able to send more emails, and then the cycle will just repeat on an ongoing basis. So what this means, it means firstly, you need a really solid and robust sending infrastructure to begin with, following all email deliverability best practice. But you also need to be keeping your ears to the ground. You need to be following best practices on an ongoing basis all the time because this stuff changes so rapidly. Now, on top of deliverability, you also need extremely effective strategy. And the strategy here, we're talking about the messaging, the copy, the targeting, the list building. You really need a sophisticated setup to win here because you have to be doing better than the rest. You want to be thinking about how can you send emails better than the 99% that are also sending cold emails, because that's how you cut through. That's really how you grab prospects' attention, especially now where prospects, their inboxes are just overwhelmed with outreach. They're getting dozens and dozens of messages every single day. You really need to stand out. And this is where tools like Clay come into the picture. Tools like Clay allow you to qualify your leads at scale, really hone in on your targeting, but also craft really compelling personalized messages that speak directly to your prospects' pain points. So what are your options for implementation? You really have three options here. You could build this in-house. This is going to be the most cost-effective from a monetary standpoint. It might be more costly from the time investment that it's going to take you to gain all the knowledge and then implement and run the system yourself on an ongoing basis. You could hire a freelancer, which is going to be like a mid-price option, or you could partner with an agency like Stack Optimize. The advantage of this is that you are using best-in-class stack setup and strategy, and it's all fully managed for you. You don't need to worry about the setup. You don't need to worry about the campaign deployment. You don't need to worry about A/B testing. You don't need to worry about deliverability. All you need to worry about is taking meetings and closing. And that brings us to the end of our video. So hopefully you should have a clear idea as to whether cold email is the right fit for you, what your realistic expectations should be when evaluating this channel, and what your different implementation options are. And again, if you think cold email is a good fit for you, you don't want the headache of setting it all up and running it yourself, and you want true experts that have been doing this for a very long time and have the best-in-class stack and strategy to run this for you, then book a time in my calendar. My link will be in the description. We have more case studies than any other Clay agency globally. Look forward to speaking with you. Hope you enjoyed the video.